A Super Bowl commercial is a big deal in and of itself. But when you add Matthew McConaughey to the mix, it goes from a cool gig to life event. When you got the call to shoot with him, what was your immediate reaction?
I thought it was amazing, and then it was even better shooting with him because you see his process, on the sidelines, which I'm like, wow, like the way that he's approaching this Uber Eats commercial, like talking to the director, like in real time, workshopping alt lines. I think the original line that I had in it was like something that was like, these. I can't remember what the original line was, but he was the one that changed on the spot to be like, these wings deserve a team, and then he's talking to the director and he's like, and then, what if I'm like, I look over to Bill and I'm like, you got any good team names for Buffalo, Bill? He's like doing that. He's like, you like that? You like that? I think the director is just like, yeah, that sounds good to me. He's like, Sean, you like that? You like that? I'm like, whatever you want, Matthew. He's like, that's the one. And then even when he was sitting down, he'd like look to the director and he'd go, now are we NFL execs wheeling and dealing? Or are we common folk eating wings in a Buffalo diner? Because he was like trying to get the motivation for his character, and then I think the reason that commercial works so well is because that's how he'll attack every scene that he does, and then he
gives
crushes
a
it
shit.
in that commercial.
He really cares.
Really gives a shit. And it's kind of inspiring to me because in those situations, the only responsibility I'll feel is like, I'll be like, okay, just don't fuck up this line. Just hit my mark. Don't fuck up this line. But then to see the way that he approaches it,
95% of us would be like, yeah, just don't fuck this up. Or like, and then be like, did I do that okay? And then they're like, yeah, that's fine. Like,
but to see his just kind of creative process and enthusiasm in that moment, I thought was just amazing.